Hello and welcome back to Dover Plays Pillars of Eternity. Okay, so it's been a while since I played. I've been quite busy with work, holidays, kids, end of school year and the such. So I've got absolutely no idea what I was doing last time. We went into the Temple of Waraka and we came out and had a new purpose, and I can't remember what it was now. We need to travel to Direford, find a tower, and to turn near a cemetery in a neighbourhood filled with rundown estates. Find the place of misery and madness. That kind of sounds familiar. Find an expert on awakening somewhere in Defiance Bay. Blackberry Sanitarium. Yes, we were going to go help Aloth because he was having awakenings, like split personality type thing. That explained all the outbursts of swearage. Anslong's Compass, which is north of Defiance Bay. Travel the cliffs that I've got no idea where they are. Explore the endless paths to Sadenua. Find ruins. Spent time travelling with Durance. Surely we've spent a decent amount of time travelling with Durance already. Right, okay, so Brackenbury Sanitarium. Where are we? First fires. And we want to go to Brackenbury. To Brackenbury! I've missed these melancholy tunes. Right, the sanitarium, is that just right here? Yes. Okay.
Well met, friend.
Oh, the Watcher, what brings you here? Does anyone know anything about the Awakenings? There's an Animancer on the lower floor who came all the way from Ruav to study them. Take the stairs down and look for Belisage. Okay. I'll do that. I'll ask her about the leading key afterwards. No, not Modred. I've done that. Belisage. Ah, that would be me. Though the lack of research subjects has made me more of an expert in counting floorboards. I would like to transfer Animancy's success in buttressing pre-awakened souls to soothing those who have already awakened. But I need subjects, and most of the patients here are too broken to produce reliable results. It is a tragedy to have come so far for nothing. You're in luck, I have a volunteer. Gavadre, who is it? I don't know about this. Don't be silly, the process is perfectly harmless. All you must do is stand in that cage. I beg your pardon? I jest. You Adrians are so uptight. I do not even know what this thing is used for. It belonged to the last occupants of this office, I think. Now they upgrade him to a cell. Again I jest. So I need you to sit here. She takes Aloth by the shoulders and steers him to the couch. And try to relax, but don't try too hard. Then you will not be relaxing. Indeed. And you must also wear these. A little cold, but the copper will help conduct your essence. The Animaster fastens thick copper bands to Aloth's forehead and wrists. As she ratchets them together, his face twitches with suppressed irritation. Now I will examine your soul through my scope. She reaches into her desk and produces a long chambered tube. Knobs, dials, and small toothed wheels run along the side of the device. It is fitted with agile lenses cut to different thickness and concavities. By manipulating them, I find the angles and densities that will allow me to track the anomalies in your soul. How exciting! I've never seen this sort of thing performed. Kana peers at the device with interest. It seems suitably complicated. But first we must find this cunning interloper. You will answer some personal questions while I make adjustments. Don't worry, I'm sure we won't hear any of it. Very well. To begin, tell me something personal, something from a time before your awakening. There's nothing to tell. I was just a normal child living in the Southwood. He looks to you. His face is set in a frown, but the rigid edges of apprehension show through nevertheless. What do you remember about your home? As you speak to Aloth, you feel your voice like a bell in your chest. It tolls softly, luring him into the midst of his own memory. Belisige doesn't seem to notice anything, but you feel as if your words are smoothing his essence, untangling its many threads. He closes his eyes. Comfortable, modest, quiet when Mother is away, which is most of the time. Quiet enough to hear the clink of glass on wood. This is when I know to be most careful. Father is good about hiding the bottles. Mother, when she is home, is good at pretending not to notice them. This is good. I am starting to see something. Continue. Tell us about the time you awakened. She bites her tongue as she twists one of the dials. I am in my 5th year of training. Mother is home. I can let my guard down a little because when she is around he is usually only angry with her. But he has heard that I have had trouble casting missiles, that my flame shields are unstable. He is furious that I have failed, and Mother's presence reminds him that he has failed too. The first blow takes me by surprise. One moment I am sweeping the kitchen, the next I am sprawled on the ground, stupidly looking at flecks of my blood on the tile. His boots, glistening with fresh polish, thud across the floor. He kicks me in the stomach, and I curl up to shield my vitals, but it's pointless. Protecting one thing only leaves something else exposed. Still huddled on the ground, I retreat as fast as I can. I retreat until the vision of the kitchen and my own trembling knees is nothing but a pinprick against a field of black. His jaw locks and his eyes twitch beneath their lids. Madicho! Belisage furiously cranks the knobs along her scope. He's hypnotized himself with his old memory. You've got to bring him out of it. Quickly, I almost have it. This is just a memory. It isn't real. Aloth's eyes snap open, but the expression you see in them isn't his. And what about those rattles you see in the space twixt your ears? They real enough for you? Belisage sucks a deep breath through her teeth. That's it! I'm seeing a shift in his essence, something spreading and congealing. She glances at you over the scope. Keep talking, he seems to respond to you. What brought you here? Cracking bones and voices high in ear. That warm molasses feeling the creeps down your gut when crisis is nigh. Belfetto! We have flares of a totally distinct essence. She jolts shorthand notes onto the pages next to her and turns one clicking knob of her scope. Now try to get the two of them talking. Aloth, ask Izumir what she's doing. Sticking weed, worming parasite. He bursts into sudden laughter. You'd say the same of your own kindled twig when it betrays you. Hey, I think she has the advantage of you there, Aloth. God, yes, very good. She rests from her scribbling only to make another adjustment on her scope. I can now see the two separate patterns of essence. Where he ebbs, the other flows. It's as if the awakened soul fills the spaces that he leaves empty. She prompts you with a circling of her wrist, quill still in hand. Go on. Izumir, what exactly are you taking from him? nae more than I'm given. Ye should ask what I did that old man of his, how the last time he laid a hand on us, I breaked it in 3 places. Aloth's head jerks to the side. That wasn't your decision. It's never been your decision. Nae was a wakening, but now I'm stuck with ye, and damned if I let your ninnying drag us both through the scupper. Ack, very good. She lowers the scope and consults her notes. I think I finally got something we can work with. I've tracked Isomir's essence through the exchange. She had a particularly high density index during the most heated portions of their argument, and her essence seemed to localize most clearly in the lower portion of the subject's left ribcage. That's right about the spleen, which of course means that she is triggered by black bile. No doubt the subject's characteristic melancholy is to blame. Aloth blinks back at you, and in the midst of his perturbation, you're not quite sure who's looking out of his eyes. That's utter horseshit. Sangi's eyes are wide and innocent. It does seem as though she's got one thing right. She glares at him. Yes, never mind my years of training. I suppose you have a better explanation? If you're right, then removing Aloth's spleen could cure him. That's a bit drastic. You're close. I think Isilmir's appearances are related to potential sources of trouble for Aloth. The sage carefully scratches her jaw, her gaze starting between you and Aloth. I suppose that could be true. She jots another note. I'll have to check this against other research. He removes the copper bands. Well and good for you, but does that mean... What does that mean for me? Belisage frowns at her notes, tapping her cheek with a quill and making a grand show of consultation. However, you catch her stealing a glance at you over the pages. Isilmir tries to take control from you when she thinks you can't face a problem on your own. You can't let her make those decisions for you. She did you a favour by dealing with your father, didn't she? I think she's trying to help. You stand up for yourself. You may not like her methods, but you should hear her out. It seems that Isilmir steps in when she determines that you're in danger. It's not clear yet whether this is a help or a hindrance. The last one. From my position, I'd say it's pretty clearly a hindrance. I've got a lot to process. Regardless, thank you for your help, Freya. He does not look at Belisage. She sets her notes on her desk and returns to her scope. Well, I hope this has been as useful to you as it has been to me. I finally have material worth publishing. You'll be the toast of review, venture Aloth. His grimace melts into the crooked smile. Aye, advancing the rightwise principles of animancy. Just what you've always wanted. As you turn to leave, you catch a darting movement out of the corner of your eye. Belisage is humming to herself, still occupied with her scope, but Aloth is holding her notes. He's just about to tuck them into his cloak when he catches you watching. He holds a finger to his lips, his eyes wide and imploring. Please, I don't want my personal information published like this, especially not after her nonsense. No, you get your explanation and she gets her research. That was the deal. He slides the papers back onto the desk, giving you a rueful look. I'm nae going to help ye explain this one, scholar boy. Quest completed, two-sided. Okay. Head back upstairs and find out about the leading key.
Did you?
I could have done without hearing that today. Many have their intrusions been into our affairs. Of course, one can seldom be certain whether they've meddled or whether calamity has struck on its own, but a few of their less skilled infiltrators have been exposed from time to time. They are a perpetual nuisance. Once again, I am reminded of how envious I am of your gifts. I suspect they would be of some use in verifying one's identity. You are at odds with the leading key as well, I take it. They have something I need. I hope it isn't knowledge you seek. They are seldom keen to part with it. Do you have some idea of who this person might be? Do I know it's a patient? I won't know until I've met them. Very well, in that case I would recommend you speak first with our resident animancers. They have frequent interactions with both patients and colleagues. You'll find them up here or in the offices downstairs. You will report anything suspicious to me immediately. That is my only request. Wait a minute. Let's just check. Leading key. Question the animal. The man who waits. Leading key acolyte showed me a vision of an agent in a place of misery and madness. I'd find this agent, discover his or her plan to see if it holds any clues to finding the man I'm searching for. Someone waiting here, a prisoner by choice. So it's someone here. Okay. So yeah, let's. You see a dark room. Am I gonna read all of this? This is a long one. Okay. You see a dark room with garnished furnishings, a large bed covered with pillows, several couches and expensive rugs. The man is sitting in a chair pushed against the wall of the room opposite the door. He is dressed in dark clothes, with a black cloak wrapped around his shoulders, its hood pulled close around his face. Shadows fall across him, the darkness rendering him virtually invisible. Two other men wait in the darkness with him, watching the door. All three are motionless. Noise from the crowded common room below echoes up through the floorboards. The handle rattles. A man staggers in, dragging a young woman with him. The two standing men exchange a quick glance, one of them tilting his head and shrugging only slightly before jumping to the task at hand. One steps forward, grabbing the girl's wrist, wrenching it from her escort's hold with one hand while pushing the door closed with the other. Then that hand is over the girl's mouth before she is even aware she's in someone else's arms. He takes a dagger from its place on his belt and draws it across her neck. He holds her still, waits for the struggles to stop. The other standing man has already subdued their target, now tied to a chair, arms and legs bound with a rag stuffed in his mouth. The girl, no longer moving, is placed under the bed, the man who dealt with her taking his place beside the other. They stare down at the man, screaming against the cloth, but the muffled sound is unheard over the raucous noise of the crowd below. One of the men begins murmuring softly, putting his hand under the chin of the man in the chair. There is a brief flash of light, and the man stops struggling, a suddenly placid look in his eyes. The two captors ask various questions that the bound man answers happily. After they finish, the two look to the man sitting against the wall. He is not moved as the events transpired before him, but only sat, silently observing everything as it happened. He stands, holding the cloak closed around himself, and nods to the two men. He then walks to the door, opens it only far enough to allow himself to exit, and leaves them to their task. You sense a strange divide in this woman's soul, an unnatural boundary between two opposed wills. You see the woman pausing by the roadside to hand something to the driver of a stopped wagon. These herbs should help with his party's sickness, she tells him. He can find more along the road, easy to spot with their serrated leaves, but avoid the ones with the green berries. It's a different species, toxic. He thanks her and offers her coin, but she waves him off, explaining that she is merely doing what the order asks of her. He nods, and she heads off down the road as he begins to hungrily consume the herb. You see the woman searching alongside the road now, the wagon just up the path, and you realize you have skipped backward in her memory. She sets eyes on a plant with serrated leaves and green berries. She picks several handfuls, tearing the berries off one by one and tossing them to the ground. She nudges them off the path into the bush quickly with her boot without looking down, as if to hide them from her own sight before striding back toward the wagon, hands outstretched. I heard that someone in the street chair came out twice as smart.
Greetings.
Anything suspicious been happening around here? Definitely not up here. We can't be scaring off visitors and potential clients, you know. Downstairs is where the more esoteric research is done. Check with the animancers there. Okay, so downstairs then. I've already spoken to Modred, and we've already spoken to Passage. Do we go speak to Modred again? There's more rooms. There's 2 more rooms and an exit.
Welcome.
Helig is dead for good. And I can rescue you. You've done great service for Animancy, for the sanitarium and for me. Glad to be of help. I don't know if that was necessarily true. Oh, who's this?
Gods
Ripley.
keep you.
Oh my, you started me. Are you supposed to be in here? What do you do here? Mostly help Mr. Izzo set up and clean the equipment. I also keep his office organised since he's too busy to do it himself. I see. Oh, I'm just Master Izzo's assistant. He'd know more about that. But he's in the middle of busy with some patients. You won't be able to see him until he comes out from the patient ward. How do I get to the patient ward? Only Master Azzo has access. I guess Head Warden's Ethelmar does too, but he's, a statue now. Is he busy with patients or running some sort of experiment? I'm just an assistant. It's not my place to gossip. I'm sorry. Okay, go talk to the statue about that guy.
Hail and well met.
Okay, maybe... Is Carmen Izzo running experiments on the patients here? Experiments? Kidman Izzo is in charge of patient welfare now. He's not authorized to run any more experiments. I'm disappointed in Kidman. I'd hoped he would be one to guide your inquiry. He'll be in his office or in the patient's ward. I'm granting you immediate access so you can find him. No doubt you will wish to speak to him further on this matter. And I, for one, am curious as to what he might say. Tread carefully in the wards. There are a few dangerous cases. I would ask also that you do your best not to agitate the patients. They have enough trouble as it is. Very good. So I'm guessing the patient ward was that door that was downstairs.
You must gather your party before then.
My party was gathered. Oh, before we do that, the party has leveled up. How many points we got? 6 points. Okay, let's go for survival and athletics. And that should do. We get to pick a talent, a greater frenzy, or Weapon focus soldier. What does that do? +6 accuracy with a greatsword, pike, warhammer, arquebus, and arquebus. Two-handed style. Grants a damage bonus while wielding a two-handed melee weapon. Or two-weapon. 20% dual wield attack speed. We are holding a two-handed weapon with our badass mohawk. Body slaughter. 20% of hits converted to crits against targets with low endurance. +5 to crit damage multiplier against targets with low endurance. Nice. Sanctifier. +25 damage against vessel. Primordial. Beast. And Envenomed Strike. New. Savage attack. 20% melee damage minus 5% accuracy. Weapon focus soldier. No, I think we'll go with the two-handed style. 15% plus 15% damage. Let's do this any. Oh, hello. +1 weapon sets. +5% damage reduction. +20% shock damage. I want some passive things. Oh, these are not passive things. That one's not. And that one's not. Greater frenzy. Accurate carnage. One per encounter, barbaric blow, 25% ability area of effect, plus 30% of hits converted to crits, 0.5 to crit damage multiplier. Yeah, let's go with that then. Very good. Okay. So, we are entering the patient's ward, but we will keep that for the next episode. Thank you for watching. Remember to like the videos, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next one.